This is it. We finally made it. Matti picked me up.
Welcome, Lucy.
Shalom
Welcome to
Aleichem.
Casa Herzog. Aleichem Shalom. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. It was a good flight, easy. You saw the turkey sandwich.
Turkey sandwich. One thing I need to make sure you have some olive oil.
Yeah, a little bit.
I need some olive
'Cause I
oil.
had
Making a barbecue soup for supper. We have some vegetables.
said that he has-
I need some oil.
He has tons of surprises.
We got surprises.
I
So
was here by this vineyard, I think, I don't know, 4 years ago?
you were here when we did the planting for
Yeah.
Joe Hurleman.
Yeah.
So, welcome to this beautiful Herzog Vineyard. Moshe, you're speechless for the first time. For the first time I'm here talking and Moshe's speechless.
Beautiful. No, because when I was here 4 years ago, the whole vineyard, I'll let Matti explain how it looked like. It looked like this.
So exactly. So I brought you to this spot in the vineyard. I wanted to make the impression. So the first place, there's a lot to go and a lot to see in this vineyard, but this is the first stop. The first stop is for the reason you could literally go north, south, and you have a beautiful new vineyard and a very old vineyard. And I'll give you the history. So when we came here, you saw a little bit, you had in your suitcases, you had the forebearers.
Yes.
So the forebearers grapes actually came from the vineyard when it looked like this. So this was going, you see the orientation? It's hard to see the orientation because the way the vineyard looks like. But you see this, the orientation goes basically east-west. We changed it to north-south. So this is a little portion. This is actually not our property. We're on the neighbor's property because all of our property is the new developed area. So this is what you see here. It's amazing, right? You see the old trunk. Almost looks like you're in Spain, in France,
Yes,
like the old.
looks like a
So this is
100-year-old
so this was planted in about 1947 or so. So when I bought the vineyard, you can't just buy a vineyard and pull out the old vineyard and replant. You have to go permits. You have to go. It's a whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So until we went for the permit process, I did the forebearers out of this vineyard for 2 years.
Tell them the story how you bought the vineyard.
The first time I came here with, Matti and my uncle Shmuley, we drove in and this is how the vineyard looked like. And it was probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, until the next morning in the car on the way to the next vineyard, not a word was exchanged between us. It was, if you ever heard the term of deafening silence, it was deafening silence.
And you were still confident
The
about
whole
it?
question was, this is the vineyard we bought? Yes. But we're going to do this. And once I said, but we're going, it was nothing. It was nothing. I tried to make conversation. There was nothing going on. That was the story. Baruch Hashem, a few years later, this is what we have. So we went through the whole process. We went through water rights. We went through putting in drain tiles. We went through ripping out the whole old vineyard, which can hold halacha how to work through what to do.
Wow.
Then we went
What
through
is
to pull out a vineyard.
You're not allowed to
Then
pull
we
out
had
a vineyard?
fruit trees.
Uh-huh.
Then we had to go through the process of getting permits to plant. So planting. Then you have to get the right clones. So that whole process, finding a company to do all this, the teams, that's what happened over here. So now let's go back into the vineyard. It's interesting if you look at these old vines, just to explain, what do you see on this whole vine? You see 1, 2,
4,
not even,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call this a cluster. This is 2.5. This is nothing. This is nothing. So from a whole vine, you have about 2.5 clusters. Now look at this. This vine has nothing, has 0 on it, right? Look at these vines. This is actually ripening already. It's almost by veraison or starting veraison, have burnt already. There's 2 vines for this, 2 clusters for this whole vine. Here there's another 2. So you cannot make any financial sense of a vineyard like this. You can't afford to grow. What he's doing here does not make any sense. He's doing it because he's farming it himself and he's coming and he's doing. But this doesn't make any sense.
Uh-huh.
And that was the thing over there.
So
that's why, but the other side, so we did the forebears, right? Why did we do the forebears? You can imagine that the grapes that you do get out of this and you do pick
is delicious.
is because...
So that's why forebears was such a small amount.
So it's almost, when you say clone 6 by design creates not as the low yielding as this, but there's almost no fruit. So you're getting all the energy, everything goes into that little cluster. So it's much more concentrated, bigger fruit. So that's what happened there, and that's what we did the forebears 18, 19. 20 we didn't do because we had the fires, as you could still see evidence of the fires around us. And then that's it. So 21 the vineyard came out, and now 24 is the first year we're going to be getting fruit out of this new vineyard.
So show me
let's go walk through the vineyard here.
So what is the biggest challenge over here? Is it water? Is it getting people to work the vineyards? What is your biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is always water. If you don't have water, you can have as much land as you want. If you don't have water, you cannot plant. So when you go for permitting to plant the vineyard, you can't just put it this way. This vineyard was bigger than the old vineyard. There was a few little notches here and there that they did without permits. So when we went to put in permits, said this one was without permit, but it was planted before 78, so it was grandfathered in. The other areas which they didn't see on the 78 map and now I couldn't get rights to plant.
You were trying to put it in.
I was trying, I'm still going for it. I'm now going for more permits over here, and then more permits on the hillside.
But they care if there is water or not, or the permits have to do with that?
If you don't have water, you cannot get a permit.
And how do you get water here?
So there's a few things we'll see. I'll show you. We did a reservoir. We did a beautiful reservoir here. So we have a reservoir. We have, like Avrum Avini, we dug 7 wells. So we have that, not the Yitzchak. So we have 7 wells on the property, which only 2 had water. And one of them had like 5 gallons per minute. The other one 16 gallons per minute. So really a joke. But what we did was, the main thing we did is we're capturing, in a good year when it rains.
So this is the challenge in all of California?
Anywhere in California.
Anywhere in the world growing vineyards, or in California
I can't speak to you about the world. I know in Spain and areas like that, or in France, the laws are way different. But over there, you have a lot of rain, right? So you don't have a problem. Even when you were in France, even in the summer, they had rain. Right? So they have the issue. That's why their ripening levels and everything is not like here. And that's Israel. I'm not sure how it works. But over here, if you want to plant, you have to show many other things amongst them. Amongst them, you saw, when we drove in, you'll see, I'll show you a few places, you'll see new oak trees that was planted. Because we had to replant for every oak tree that you took out. For planting this, you had to plant another tree somewhere.
In the same area?
In the same area. Now, before you go for a permit, they come to see if you have any endangered species. If you have a spotted owl in this area, then forget it. Then you can't plant because you're going to disrupt the whole area, and they won't be planting. Look at that, the hummingbird right there.
What do you mean they come looking?
They come check. They send down people to check if there's any endangered plants, unique plants, which if that is, then you can't pull it out. And even if you pull, you're going to have to replant. That's that. Then all the different, if there's a legless lizard, if there's spotted owl, all these different things, all these come to check. Once you go through all these testings, all the different things, then you can get, if you have water, then you could get a permit to plant. So, Baruch Hashem, we're here. We planted 4 years ago now. Let's walk into this beautiful. So what you see here, right, as of now it's developing, it's growing. The shoots are growing, this is going to go in. But this is all growing, and now you're going to have for each one, so it depends how tall it is. And this you'll see throughout the whole thing. If it gets over till here, which is basically above 36 inches, then each shoot position is going to get 2 bunches of grapes.
So I can see the difference between the vineyards that you showed me before. You literally get from this much, like a whole row over there.
So basically this is a what is it called? A bilateral. So you have one going this way, one going this way. Then you have, from this, you have shoot positions. Every shoot position, depending how tall it goes, will get either one bunch or 2 or none. So this one is going up. You see, this is about 48 inches.
But do you want to get more bunches, or you want to get less bunches?
No. You want to get, it's basically designed to get 4 acres to the ton. It's designed to get 4 tons to the acre. That's what you get. So that's what this is designed. The quality vineyard is designed basically like
If
that.
not, what
so
happens
4 or
if
5 tons?
If you have more.
You could grow more. So then the question is, are you going to get it to the right? Are you going to get it ripe?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get it ripe. So if I'm going to get it to, I might get sugars, might not get, but I might not get phenolic. So you basically want to make sure you could get it to 25 to 27
And
sugar.
you want to get the best quality also.
So if you have too much fruit,
Then you don't have flavor.
then you're not going to get this. So you have to control. So it depends how you do it.
You
By
also
water.
explained me that strong water from up top is
No,
bad for the
you
grapes.
want, so the same, you'll see the old vineyards, we won't see in this, sometimes you'll see they have sprinklers for
Yes.
frost protection. Or
Oh,
sometimes for watering. But you don't want it. You don't want the water and everything going on the berries. You don't want to do it by bloom or anything. You don't. So you do the drip irrigation.
Why? Because it gets watered down.
Not just necessarily. No, watered down. You could control when you give it, but it will also. What does it do to the grapes? How does it affect? Does it hit? Does it hurt? As it develops. When it's later on, it's not a problem, but you don't want to do it. And then you're wasting by sprinkler. You're wasting a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
This you could see that it's feeding. Every vine gets fed exactly how much water is. So if you have sprinklers, then what you do, another thing happens when you have sprinklers. When you have sprinklers, you're going to have stuff growing here.
Which
Right?
they take away the energy.
So if you're going to have stuff growing on the berm right over here, that's competing with the vines. The idea over here is only the vines gets water when it needs it. And I'll show you, we have a special company and we have what we call moisture probes that we monitor down 4 feet down the stress level of the vines. So we give water not based, today it's 110. Last week, because today is 110 degrees, last week we gave it more water.
You knew before that it's
So that it shouldn't, because
So
if I would add water now, it wouldn't do anything. You could see the vines, they're still beautiful, they're growing, they're not stressed, 110 degrees, you can see how it's still growing, right? So the drip irrigation, the idea of drip irrigation is depending on the time, like you could do frost protection, you could do sprinkler, but during the growing season, you want to do drip and you want to give the water only to the vines itself.
And this is something you're still learning because
Every time
I've been coming to vineyards
every
for
time
so
I come
many
out to
years
the
now,
vineyard,
and I'm learning so much.
every time you come out to the vineyard,
You're
you learn
still
more.
learning.
You learn more. See, here's one of the vines that didn't take. So here there's a thing, because we need to replant over here. Then we need to mark that vine and think for Arla. We have Arla now, because it's a Yiddish vineyard, so you have Arla. Right, so then you have, this is how it goes. So this is a new, young vineyard, just planted. This is how it looks. See, this one didn't, this is a new one, and there's one missing, but overall, here, as you go more up on the hill, you'll see more